Um, Today is Friday, the 8th of January 2021. The time is just gone about 14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. Assalamu alaikum mbokk yi, man la Souleymane Sowe di ñëw Facebook live di ñëw pour discourse yéen the testimony, today's testimony boo xam ne DG Sowe moom la def at the TRRC. And the discussion mooy lan mooy to expose. It's a critical analysis of testimony, and to dugga si biir si boppam because of for obvious reasons. Obvious reasons, the TRRC could not do that for two reasons. It's not a law code. Mënuñoo dugga si yenn. Two, there's an excuse of national security. There's an excuse ne suñ bëggee wax certain things. Sowe la fa ne or national security law. And here, I'll tell you, I'm very responsible. Obviously, I'm not going to do anything law hamne dina infringe national security, but I'll get to the crux of things and expose what had happened and what is still happening. Ku fok ne NIA change na, you don't know how these people operate. I'll explain what have happened. And in doing that, as I said, suñ toogee fii di waxtaan, it's not about personalities or anything. It's about to learn from our history in order to avoid it happening again. To learn from our history in order to progress. That's the only reason I take my time to come on here. There's another thing I base my argument, I base my discussion on experience I have. And the knowledge I have, and from what I share with people. There are people that I trust, I know, and believe, trust their knowledge, and trust sense integrity. And that's where I base my my discussion on. And especially senior to national security, I can say I have an expert opinion on it. I mean, especially senior to Gambia, because of it's my interest, it's my passion, and I follow it, and I did a lot with it, to the extent of I can daily say that I am talking on the base of an expert opinion. I'm not just talking as an activist or just as a citizen. I base it on that. And to start with, I'm going to talk about something that just been reported, and then. But I'm not going to go through it properly, because what happens is probably Saturday, Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, I'll come out and we discuss it more. This is the 2 tons of drugs, cocaine being intercepted in the Gambia, final destination. And what of money small here, I talk from point of expert opinion, talks from point of real source material, your are authentic people I trust. 2 months ago, I came out and started to agitate, make strong allegations. And in fact, people that respected me, and in fact, call my Sisuf Nama bro, but because of this are very strong. I want to look, I stand by, I am not doing this for money, I'm not doing it for anything. It would be ridiculous for me to come out to claim things I'm out. For what reason? What am I going to gain from it? Smart integrity is more than that. But I know why they were concerned, because of the allegations were very strong, and they were straight, directed to the president and the government. When I did that, it was based on information I know is happening, and I touch on some of these things. As I said, it's not everything in detail. Because there's reasons for this. We don't want our sources to be found out, and certain things are left as an element of surprise for the law enforcement. And when I said that, I made it available to Gambians. Look, I'm not going to waste my time with Gambian law enforcement. I know they will not do nothing about it. But we have a way to alert, to make sure the international law enforcement agencies would be alerted for what is happening in the Gambia. And for that reason, and something will be done. Because ñun suñ interest mooy to stop the Gambia becoming a narco state, to become the Gambia bankrupt. We do anything, on the basis of national security, for national interest. And obviously, we did what we did. And I'm not taking claims for anything or anything else. I'll just leave it there. But in the discussion about Sowe, I'll bring my knowledge about some of the things I know that happened, especially with this trafficking. Sowe touch on it and run. Sowe no more than he's admitting to. And the fact knowing, right now, under Sowe knew about the Gambia becoming, continuing to be a narco trade. Narco country. He knew. Sowe Hamdane, the Barrow administration is benefiting. Sowe Hamdane, NPP is benefiting from illicit money, from corruption and from drug trafficking. And Smodugesi Sowe Sibopam, I'll prove that. I'll prove that from testimony. Yena logic moko in the answer. But I would say when this story broke, when I tell my joke, Bumagisi story before iAfrica, I made a post. And I'm going to read from that post and just to point certain things for Gambians to think about. Then Sunday or Monday, when I just have a program on this trade. Again, I made a program before. From Guinea-Bissau, the connections and everything else. I don't want it to sound as tribe. But obviously predominantly certain tribes now, but these are business people. They know I'm control. And you will find out, I didn't mention a tribe, but everybody knew what I am alleging to. What I'm alleging to, from Bissau connection and other connections, from Angola and other connections. You know, yesterday he talked about Angola, and he talked about General Bubu. We'll get to that. These things more happen. Now, you can see this angle in the Gambia. And so they may hold NPP, now hold the supporters or the financiers. You see these people. You know, drug trafficking, drugs have different elements or different players. Not everybody more gives drug, not everybody more japa drug, not everybody more push drug. They have different things, and we'll talk about that then. But when I made this post, this seizure was forced on Gambian authorities from international law enforcement agencies. I 100% have evidence on this, whether the Gambia would admit it or not. And we know how it came about. Gambia government stopping drug, then what you stop drug. Just as num happened to Yaya Jammeh. When Yaya Jammeh knew the international law enforcement agencies, new detection Bonto and other things, have not the consequences of that. Yaya Jammeh def a sting operation. Now, if so hamut about this audacity of amount of drug committed country, then what is the NIA is for? I'm not going to call it SIS. It's not legal. NIA is still an NIA. I'll get to that. They trail the consignment to its final destination and inform the Gambian authorities. The destination from the original, from Joge at Process BF, international law enforcement knew about it. And they wanted to find out the final destination. That's how they operate. Obviously with intelligence and information from different angles. And they trail this. Fatale Kungen Casey in 1994, when Babanding Sissoho imported the heroin or cocaine from, I forgot where, but it was stopped at Mauritania. The reason it was stopped at Mauritania, not the Gambia. Gambia was the final destination, and addressed to the Ministry of Agriculture. The then International Law Enforcement Agency, Hamonene, doing track on that. They have enough. The Hamonene, at that time, the new constituted government of the Gambia would not play ball with them because of it was pointed at State House. Then Lenjef, you stop at Mauritania to disrupt this traffic. That was enough for them. In this case, because we perceive to be living in a democracy, now guide trail. You buy Mujar, Spain, Jar Funeka. They want the final destination and to bring it up there. The law enforcement agent, international law enforcement agency know more than we know. And now they make Gambia to act on it. This is the only reason. Yes, we'll talk about these things. Money. If the international law enforcement agencies did not act, then the seizure will not have happened. I am telling you now. The international law the international law enforcement agencies soon acted on this, the drugs would not be found in the Gambia. It would have gone just as others been going. Gis ngeen the ones yoo xam ne were detected by mistake, by chance of ne laborers ñoo ko gis boo xam ne dem na bi jaar na si port bi génn si napp si port bi yëpp ba dem ba ko deliver to the owner ku ko moom bitikam léegi laborers yooyu wàccee foofu gis ko dem report ko fan la mujjee ñu ne amuñ evidence. How much evidence do you need? You see that. Moo tax ma ne duñ defin, but when we talk about it properly, we'll get to that. That's what I said. Now, ma continue ma ne if the continue, why do you think the cartel have the audacity to import this large amount? They build the infrastructure, which includes the buying in of politicians and government agencies. Why do you think anybody will have the audacity to go to a country to import 2 tons of cocaine? That's a large investment. You don't want to take that risk. You don't want to take that investment. Because if you see what a drug trafficking, so what is involved, you don't do that. So I'm with certain guarantees in that country. So in order to have that guarantees, you have to build an infrastructure. Because of Lubari, should do Gambia, that's an infrastructure. And in order to do that, then I'm the administration. And then I'm gender agencies. That's the only way you can do it. That's the only way you can do it. Not a money and these people, then I'm other people because of they've bought this. Ma continue. Money. Which include buying in politicians and government agencies. Let us watch out the arrest. Then let's watch out the arrest list. It will tell us something. And it's not entirely all. Because you know, how these things operate, they operate as, all the things. And then they are far, further down. Unless you are really willing to do your investigation and capable, you will not get to them. I'll tell you, this is not new. It was happening in the Jawara government. If you knew some of the people during the Jawara government who were within this, when the heroin was coming from Pakistan, coming through our post office and through our ports, so learn how the kind of people, how so-called religious heads you have, they are implicit in this. You'll be surprised. People that knew, but but the arrest, some of these arrests would tell you something. And already, and it's already pointing to the NPP. People that know, because of they don't go to NPP meetings or anything, but you have represent in the NPP. I have been vindicated again. Few months ago, I reported the extent of the narco trade in the Gambia. Some thought it was due to politics. The actors are at the heart of NPP. Mane Silaba Sabate in brackets. In brackets. I dare Dumade Taurek to altering it. I base it on evidence. Today, I'm not going to name of Silaba Mungnon Bakune, Mom Kuko accuse anything, Decabone Canalafa Feka. I welcome Silaba. Now I welcome Silaba to sue me. Laflena Fennel, Silaba Hamna Lumaham, to Hamdam, but Silaba Dafut Suma. Let him try that. And others are facilitating the transaction. We'll get deep into this to explain how NPP is complicit, how some people within the NPP are representing the interests of the narco trade. And brother Adama Barrosi Wopam, Bully is part of it. He is one person who transact in this. Adama Barrow, Adama Barrow he's playing. Start. He do something and try to blame others for it. Try to distract. Adam dafa jaay dëkk ba pare. Laaj leen seen bopp yéen ay laaj te xaalis bi yëfu moo jógee. Yes, in many areas. Mu ngi jógee many areas. Te suñ jógee, I'll explain some of the things Sowe have already done for Adama Barrow. Moo tax ma ne change. Ma continue. Mane Barrow is profiting from the trade. Stand by my allegation, the biggest catch in the sub-region. I stand by that allegation. I don't, no matter how, for any reason, put tennis, imagine it, I am not profiting from my platform. I am not even been seen, apart from the people I have with. The only reason I do this for Gambia. Okay, when we get to probably program, I mentioned some of these things. It's not to talk about myself, but just to so that people know the authenticity of the information I have. Suma bugon alel through drugs. I have time buma am access to these things. Suma bugon boka. Suma bugon make millions, or even do other things in it. Lunchi hambalena. But we have never had interest in it. What we did is to try to stop this. So my own interest in government or governance or plus or anything, no, it's not about that. Since time, I don't even have a contribute a penny into what I do. I, in fact, them ligay for love of country and what I want to say. That's all it is for. And then continue watan, just to put it that way, for more clear for certain people, probably people that doesn't know. But let's start this watan. This watan more about DG Sowe, testimony about the TRRC. And again, I will say this. When the government changed, the first appointment and controversial appointment, more in Dakar, and when the government changed, like winning elections and everything, and Adama Barrow in Dakar, I said this because we were in the midst of things. The assets we have in Dakar, what was going in Dakar, and obviously some of us were invited in Dakar, because the minute we saw what was happening, we don't want to wow, so or anything, we stepped back. And it's gone 4 years. Can you Gambia? Can you anything to do with and can Ben government officer do telephone or anything to about opposition or appointment or anything? I don't need that. I mean, I will only take that or with people then I'm enable right for Gambia. I will not waste my time for that. But in Dakar, when it started, was the appointment of Masani Kinte. The minute we knew about that, I came and agitated. Yes, I was attacked. And some people already, because of new election winning correct, you do the tagalo, need them some political interest. And this political interest, some people take it as to be tribe. I don't subscribe to that. And I was called a tribalist. The first time, tribalist, but for that, this thing, attack. Everywhere, it was coming from many places. And obviously, other people need job seeker because if I'm a job or something like that, my attack. Once we are divided, yes, we can criticize each other based on issues, based on facts, based on or question. I mean, hold people accountable, that we should do, but not because of you perceiveness. No. Swat such a cut can boom call out, but now such a Somali, no, it doesn't work. I was attacked because I knew the worries, because we knew what was happening, understanding how institutions work, understanding how Jammeh work. Once you hold certain positions in Jammeh's government, you cannot be expected to in the reforms in that country. It tells a lot. It tells a lot if anybody can rise within the ranks, especially within the Jammeh circle, especially within the security sector. These were the most repressive. If you can survive, rise to the ranks and stay along that line, you are not fit for purpose. That's my point. That was my point. Another point was the mindset. The mindset what Ampu develop to survive. You go on a survival mode. You go on self-preservation and everything. So integrity, you have to throw it out there. Everything is about you. It's no more about society. It's no more about national. No. Jammeh government was not about national. It was about self and everything. And Lulu more continue now in Barrow. That's why I always hold my conviction that once you tahu, ngane hamgadara. I am not saying that people in institutions, but you have to be very careful. If not, like you dingamel. But no melon, they will not change because environment will change. I'm not anything return you change. demuñ through benn process te ñu change su nekkee kooku change how can that person change something else and this is the discussion boo xam ne di ngeen ko gis with Sowe and moom ngeen gis with Langtombon Tamba Sowe and others. Okay, and one other thing people have to understand, anybody could rise within Jammeh cycle to that level, self-preparation, but Bulakenna, you belong to a network. Jammeh for created networks, and these networks were based on tribe, and obviously it's based on tribe, it's based on family, and especially it's based on tribe, it will based on a regional aspect of it. Near an original aspect. It's just lazy or been prejudiced or soon you could be right. No, then definitely by Punyupus Joy, New Puli, or New Sowe, they did. It was Gambia as a whole. Unless we start to look at things in that perspective, we will fail. No, I'm one tribe that can damage that country. I'm one family or one person who damage that country. I'm one region who damage. We don't belong like that. We all intermarry, we all blessing. I'm religion, one Islam or Christian. No, it's individuals who belong to that will do it. Just as individual pools, individual dollars or sources, whatever. The interest be, it's not to their religion, it's not to their tribe. It's to them and their family. And these are important points to raise from now on. And you have the survival mode. The survival mode, but you have to represent something. In the case of Sowe, yes, Yahya Jammeh would have mechanism, and the Polio were part of the mechanism. But again, they were a part of a regional perspective of phony. And especially, tribe at blog living them then hold in the setup of the security sector. Then hold pull you phone. How he strategically used them. Just as Solende Messi combo some Christians from the combo. What a Solen hold a security sector these are things you can tell. The guy was smart in a bad way to put everything. Them then hold the setup in the NIA. Them then hold the setup in the army. Ngen hold the setup of Mandinkas. Ngen them hold the region those Mandinkas came from. The guy would make sure he have this mechanism. That's how it was difficult to get rid of him. Because everybody would be looking inwards. And to protect. Inwards to protect. We are all divided. Then Momuna stand alone. He have a counterbalance. He have a counterbalance. Or Kuneka, not only they have loyalty to him or trust him, but they want to protect themselves. They want to survive. They want to maintain their lifestyle. They want to progress. They want to this, and it becomes that mentality. And because it became this mentality, go and look at it. And this is why we need to really be careful. Tribalism. It's not tribalism as people understand it. No, it was, yes, it's tribal mechanism put in place. And he used this to their advantage. And this is just an overview of some of the most sensitive things, because they are very difficult to have right. Munga ko am sa hol or sa hel sa pu wako muju. But su kome desna ko dega degin bum ko buga dege. Ben soare gis nga mu wax mbiri tribe nga. No, we have to talk about tribe. Suñ ko noppé other people ñu ko wax, they will say it wrong way. Not I keep on saying, not some people would say something very horrible. Not that they mean to say something horrible about Paul or anything. Then you react. And that's why I don't take offense. They're ignorant and they needed to be informed and educated. Some people say something ignorant about Sowe Jola. Not they mean something against the Jola tribe. No, then you react to something that's sent to them. Because they don't have the wisdom to accept, take that, and understand and deal with it. No, that's why they will react. Let me start with the most profound this thing. When I was listening to Sowe's testimony, bits. I make a post and send it. Post, send it. And the reason for that to indulge other people. And I have experience, and most people have activity on social media should know this. Social media is one of the biggest schools if you know how to use it. You'd be surprised how many people would not react to you, didn't like, didn't comment, but they will come to your inbox and give you information, or what lesson opinion, a very honest opinion that they feel that they cannot, for many reasons, they cannot put out there. They're out there. And some people that will confess of taking part or something else, you'll be surprised. And relationships are built like this. More I like social media and Senkofu. That's what I did. And I'll start with, my first post was, DGSIS acknowledge the agency is operating under the guidelines of Degree 45 and a code of conduct of a code of conduct of 1995. No regulations, no SOP, no recruitment manual. What is the agency? How is the agency reformed? Still now, this is Luhewon. So why I bring this question, why? How was this agency reformed? Mune reform now. But I'll tell you something. Another point Bumabuga raised, my name, I respect people who are educated. Education, I'm respect, then yes. But Gambia, we have a problem now. Most people who claim to be educated are certificated. They have the certificate, they are not educated. They don't have wisdom, they don't have knowledge. And because of we pursue certificates rather than pursue education. We pursue certificates to justify rewards, so that we can be promoted. I'm not masters, I'm not bachelors, I'm not lead. That's what we do, and which is dangerous. And now, Solen by hell, the testimony, you know, and and you know what? Kina amnali, ki amnali. I'll tell you one thing about it. Since 1995, I started 1995, our A-levels, our bachelors, our 1995, I was helping people, and most of the part, even write their dissertations. I was helping people write their dissertation on masters. Because they engage you and you find out that in fact they have no clue of what they're doing. And most people I know, and you know, their authors and masters engage them in their trade or anything. They'll be good at presenting certain things or presenting themselves. But so you to the knowledge or wisdom of things, they are not educated. And so is a proof of that. Double masters, diplomacy, double master security studies. He doesn't understand that. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And what it takes to run an institution is something else. It's not, another problem we have more, especially under Yajame. You go and educate, get them the certificate, get them the masters, is the beginning of something. Then you, what did you apply? I'm going mentoring, mentorship. I'm going some, you don't apply anything. What you find there, more a different culture. I mean, you'll find there, it's nothing to apply yourself. You have to go by a non-written code of conduct, non-written procedures, non-written regulations. Everybody knew. And that's what you rule by. And with anything professional. And in order to stay there, you have to do it right. Survive. If not, then they get kuyaga. Bemuna dem the egg. Sign your delay mom like you surprised. That's why people when they hear about Mambure, Gisu Mambure, they get somebody, but Mambure with the little boom amon, Tami Jawa, the little boom amon boom anyway, he just threw it away and took everything from the argument. That's why he knows how to operate. This is what actually happened. And to show, if you listen to the testimony, I'll tell you one thing, and especially an intelligence. Academic qualifications are one thing. Intelligence officers is a trade. Certain things that people equip it in order to be good. It's a trade. And this kind of people, they don't have what it takes. Because you might lack certain academic qualifications, but you are very good at in the craft. It's a craft. As an intelligence. And if you have that, you are very effective. And the word is in it, intelligence. And the thing when a smart intelligence officer, I'll tell you, he would have dominated the proceedings. du doon mel ni ganaar mu nangu Essa Faal di ko super jalang di ko do rôle di ko defin ak yooyu no and make him look small and silly. You see the pre-hearing bu moo tooga Essa Faal gars yi di waxta because bu nekkee nag anybody kuy testify TRRC toog nga the lead counsel or the person leading you lead counsel bi before ngeen ñëw of ngeen understand what you're going to cover, how you're going to cover it. At that point Pharaoh na in fact destabilize Essa ba pay control the narrative, especially put mom two things that one he was not adversely mentioned, one. Two, he is coming at the position that he's active and he is mugi head a reform process. The only thing is he's not amut what it takes. If he had lead a reform process at the trade, the third thing mugi lead an intelligence security sector. He can always use the cover of national security. Then fumo toge Essa Faal. This is. Look, I will come in and I will, in fact, prefer to make a statement before you start. There's the first day sitting be he would have just been making a whole day make a statement of the admit to everything that Essa raised that part. Then you interfere with immigration, then you interfere. It's a fact. You're going to be smart. Accept it. What would you? It's an institution we all know is a fact. And then you take them through all that. And Essa would have nothing to do with that. Then you the next minute in that statement, so strategically place your agenda. Your agenda is it's a reform institute. And just push it. Then hearing if Essa start to refer to your statement. Now look, Essa, we have dealt with that, and Essa will be destabilized. You from them. But he is not smart. If that person is not smart to protect himself, how do we expect that person to lead an organization that will protect us, protect the government? How can that person advise the executive on national issue on strategic level? And this guy doesn't even understand security services. He doesn't understand security service, and you don't blame him. This is what happened. The mindset and everything he knew. So demon jangi si finance knew it's what NIA is, and the still more faneka will continue. Because that's why when he went to acknowledge that the NSS, I call it NIA, and I'll tell you why. The NSS is still operating on a degree 45 with a code of conduct written in 1995. Okay, now there's no new regulations. There are no regulations in 1995, and there's no new regulations in 4 years. Bumtige over as the DG. There are no standard operational procedures, and in the forces, in the services, not only standard operational procedures you have standing operational procedures we have. Standing operational procedures you have is like water service be naked, that kind of an environment, and you get oriented in that way, and you get regimented in that way. What you have a standing operational procedures in the services, not only as a corporate bodies have standard operational procedures. No, it's a standing, and flexibility is quite limited. And this guy saying that not a money and with no recruitment manual. They don't even have a recruitment manual on intelligence, how they recruit and maintain their training proceedings. These are very important things. Pomo admit lolo, man and bon landing reform say NIA. Nothing. Why did I say NIA? Because you cannot change the name of NIA without a legislation. I mean, when legislation in Parliament that change. Because the legislation in Parliament, dumuna sideline degree 45. Degree 45 would have to be taken out of the Constitution in order to muna indibdara. Degree 45, what I suspect, is an entrance clause. But most probably it's difficult, or probably it's. I am not going to into the constitutionality of that because I don't have time to look into it. But this degree, Constitution, it's for a reason. And all these degrees, degree 90, 45, and all these things serve one purpose, to entrench. Now, this institution cannot be reformed without these things being dealt with. Now, but one thing having that, but the other thing that if he was a good administrator, he would have realized that yes, Digger 45 is there. I'm not ambiguities you faneka. I'm not gray areas you faneka. Now, in order to protect my services from this, I am going to have regulations, and these regulations will be attached to, because they don't put a clear and gain all those ambiguities and gray areas, and this and added with a SOP or a standing operational procedure. Lumon of Moy did not control. Now we have a mechanism that we can hold on, but it's not only understanding. We are different, gaining in handcuffs at not did it. That's not what it is. My one in the agency is not fit for purpose still, and the guy is not fit for purpose to run that agency. That was one. The other point he raised, another post Buma Defar, Mane DGSIS served 15 years, doubled masters, and occupied 2 different directorates, still without a regulation, SOP, recruitment manual. He just realized the importance of these instruments. At the hearing, Sila understand the importance. When he was asked about SOPs and everything, he kind of like awake. Ne, how? Oh, these things I need. And boom, in the Lolo the next day, he went and took the government standard, government regular things. No, your institution itself should have something. Yes, the Naneka in line, and or Naneka a guide, just like the constitution is out there and the laws within the constitution. What happened here, boy? Why did I mention his education? Double masters. I am not, and I keep on emphasizing this because the respect I have for qualifications, respect I have for educated people and people who take their time, resources to be educated. There is this service to those people. You have to work hard, educated. At the default we have in the Gambia, and I cannot say it's entirely the fault of the people. No, it's a system. More than you need a reform of educational, our education. You need a reform of our administration and everything else. We need these important things. More than you make sure we change a government and bring a government that would push the country progress. But since we maintain this sort of government, we are in a big problem. Why maintain double masters and serve 15 years, 2 directorates? You know, it tells you something about this institution. And institutions in Gambia. You don't have to be the managing director. You don't have to be the director general in order to effect change. And I am waiting for the radio to start. I have a special program to explain this, how you can influence change. And to influence change is part of a curriculum. Bohane is in intelligence here. Morane, these people, if they knew what they were doing, they could have worked Yaya Jammeh, in fact, if they want to do good, but they were just part of Yaya Jammeh, be part of Yaya. What it is, Moy, you cannot be a director. Yange talks to board, and that board is not functioning. Or Yange talk, see management level, and the management is not improving. Bepenga Buga Johan, managing director or the institution, you are part of that institution. Your one gamuna influence change. Soko munut danga wara gena su nekkee na sa education what na something danga ne dede man ben soir duma bokk fi dama dem defelene anam you see feeling they uti wante because institution dafa war improve and you have to use your naka like to the human resource in order to improve that. But the NIA doesn't do that, or any institution of the Yajame does not do that, and now it's still not doing that because you have the same people with the same mindset. How do we make the money? How do we build the houses? Marry the wives or and be the beautiful queen and everything. That's how we learn your halat. Halatuin, how they impact the institution. I tell you, at work, when we senior deal with the KPIs at our workplace, I am invited for Hamne is 2 pay scale against above my level. Why? Because of my line manager, Hamnam Suma expertise and my experience. Because seniority to innovation, I am invited to give my views on innovation. te su ñëwee to critically who hold issues during our KPI discussions. I'm there. I am not supposed to be on the table, but the importance mooy ne I can be there because of xam nañ these things. Not ne lifin or small view could have been carried by the manager. Manager could have taken my view. No, they understand and respect and that influence, and it makes the worker important, feel important, respected, value, ne mu ngi am impact. Now, you cannot tell me you are a director, two separate areas, ne yow mënuloo influence anything, or influential in anything, then change or stable in anything. Now you become you're going to run that institution for 4 years. Then lan nga experience on lu bon yëpp loo xamoon lu bon yëpp how did you change it? You haven't changed nothing absolutely because of teguloo ko si kaw fen. Doo mën a any change of mindset and everything without nga am the regulations, without nga am a framework, without nga am training manual, without nga am training, without nga am nga build a metrics to find these things, without nga KPIs to check, measure. You have to do these things. They don't. The agency changed to what bigger. We know them. I know them. I'm still dealing with most of them were there. And even the new recruits is kind of even based in tribe now. Tribe they are doing that. And that's the danger of that country. You get them straight because he's using national security, but people new deal with them, we know them. Move on to the other aspect. I wrote about the NIA Act, NIA Act, the Act, my degree 45, long as Act, mom la use. Has national communication headquarters. It does not exist. How do they gather information effectively as an intelligence services? What have they reformed? The DG seems not to understand the importance. You see, intelligence agencies, I can give you a history of the United Kingdom. Intelligence agency of the United Kingdom is based and it started from GCHQ, the communication headquarters, and to deal with this thing. And you'll be surprised to understand how important BBC is part of that. They will not tell you. BBC will tell you they are liberal, they are independent. They will well, America will tell you the VOA, what's it, China doing the what's in, these are all things. The intelligence agency is not what we have in the Gambia. In Sowe degree 45, the act bindanako ne am nañ ko o lu bokk ci lu ñoo am la degree 45 mooy di act bu wone sarta yi nu ñoo doxee, but it's only in writing because people ñu want to implement, they don't have what it takes to do that. Like the league, so amut and communication headquarters kind of infrastructure. Okay, let's be serious here. Man waxuma ne or who understand not ne Gambia dañ wara am gadget sur no lu nekk la fa am the need. What need? Gambia, how much do you need? That's what you have to ask. But dinga am something that does that. Okay. Pour ne amuñ ko te admit ne amuñ ko. Am na ku ne am nañ ko dañ dee déglu téléphones du dëgg. These people, they rely on telecommunication companies to give them certain things. It's nothing. Look, we penetrated the Ajame and dañ doon def lu ñu ne dugal si dëkk bi def lu ñu ne génn di waxat nit ñi di def yëpp musuñ ñoo detect. Suñ doon déglu phone si I'll tell you they would have detected this. Dañ doon call state house yu defante ñu nekk state house di arrange state house dara lañ du dégga amuñ ko. What they can do is obviously answer number, they can trace your number and listen to your number and so on. Amuñ ko. Now, what do you understand, Moine? These things are very important, but Mula one and the importance of that amount. It's just an existence. Mula one the infrastructure, the NIA is not fit for purpose. Why did I say communication in the Gambia? Let me just give a simple example. I'm not going into details because some of these are operational. I'm not policy, I'm not operational, but the operational we don't want it to be out there. Just like what normally happens is, Gambia, so other organizations, how they work, other organizations or countries, how they work. In the Gambia, you can do a replica of that in a small scale. Gambia, do you know intelligence agency, do you know what they have to do? It's a small thing. Room equip that room. And it's not very expensive to equip that room. You don't need to listen to people's communication. Gambia. We don't have those threats. You target your listening. And your listening today, you target it on social media more than anything. You'll be surprised. But you already have agencies you get collect intelligence. You have the customs. You have the customs. You have the port landing, port authority at customs. You get living. I'm the police. The police you get collect intelligence. GRA. You get collect intelligence through tax and other things. Look, there are many things. Why do you need to duplicate these people? No, law and put effect more. Build an infrastructure. We collect all this, centralized go, analyze go, and disseminate go. Then the other thing you have, more counterintelligence that will work on some of this and work on other things through certain things you put there as a means of collecting. You don't need, it's not the amount of people you have, it's the amount of people you have capacity. Understand what intelligence is. Then it comes. You'll be surprised. Any day, someone do give social media what I can find, interest, look at certain areas. You can tell them. Some of these things I know, people don't tell me. People put their life every day out there. Understand people. You have to have what it takes to understand it. Gambia, you could have done that. And I'm the people who are needing NIA. No, needing NIA B. Just as senior needing army. No, needing army B. They need to answer to our needs. The mistake we have, what happened we cannot be a sovereign state without a national security sector, national security service. This is one element we have more mistake on. When you upgrade, when you evolve as a state, 1981 one component we entirely relied on CID. CID, same scope, is internal. Yes, we take some information from there because CID will come across certain things and they will take that and pass it on to a national security because they cannot deal with it. I mean, the infrastructure to deal with it. You need that component. But take that. You know what? Come across. I give an example. In the United Kingdom here, the police will come and raid or immigration part of information. Immigration will not raid Sunker. And they come across with certain information. And that information will then go on. This is out of our scope. You send call MI5. MI5 look at it up MI6. The MI6 more external, just as deal with that and you deal. That's how it happens. They have to be effective and living, but not what we need at like another army of this thing. It's not a police state, it's a democracy. That's a low problem. These are things we have to understand. We cannot go into details and most of these things among time but it's something that can be done. A serious government can change that country and make it work effectively. I wrote another thing. Wow. DG Sowe admitted learning a lesson on the difference between policy and operational functions. I realized that Omar Faye and CDS Drame are not alone. What is happening here, Moy? Okay, what is happening here, Moy? So actually admitted to the commissioner. In fact, understand our operations, now matters, and policy matters. This is very dangerous. And it's not so alone. CDS Drame have done the same thing. Omar Faye is doing it all the time. Because what you understand about these people, during Tami Jawara, these people have never dealt with policy. They were operational guys. they were operational guys. Bu Yaya Jammeh ñëwee, these people become elevated. Suñ demee jàngi feneen ñëw sax, the culture and practice and everything is jumbled up. These people are not framed to operate in a functional, professional, functional environment. They are, I mean, it's matter of understanding like they work with. And they get into everything. Kuneka dinga mix in everything. Dinga gis new them effect arrest definitely. This is what was happening. And the guy, as much as them not jangi fene nyona or as much as muge try to difference it, it's gonna be difficult. Because he has never lived a different life. He has always been living that life. Mota is dangerous. The reforms cannot be done by this sort of people. You need people, you know how many, they are seasonal people. Not the word seasonal. Look, anybody who yaga singuri Yaya Jammeh is a minus, should be a minus. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with your understanding, professionalism and so on. This is a fact. Especially guy work directly to Yaya Jammeh or very close to how Yaya Jammeh operate. You need people who that professionalism, know to restructure, you understand. This is what's the problem we have in our institutions, right in the security. The guy admit understanding. And as I was saying, when Bumojema justify arrest, wow, we need to arrest and investigate. You don't do arrest and investigate. It's not your role. You are in national security service. Do you know what happened? I'll give you an example. You happen in the United Kingdom. Suñ xamoon ne suma kër tey ñu ngi involved in terrorism or likely terrorism nañ def seen liggéey yëpp surveillance and everything gather information use seen device def lu nekk but su ñëwee to this thing they will use the police dañ am seen internal dañ am seen intelligence dañ am seen firearm dañ am everything and the police ñooy ñëw deal with it te su nekkee ne dañ suspect ne there's bombs devices involved, then you involve the army. There is already that regulations book cover the bomb disposal experts from the army. You cannot work with the police. There is already an established protocol. So the special forces in the army can be embedded within the police arm unit. And there's a special name they give them. And they have exercises together, then they have rehearsals together. This is how it operates. Langa ampul lot according to law. Don't want to step on each other. They collaborate. But the MI5 or MI6, swing a pistol, it's not to go and arrest, and it's for their own defense, protection. If they come into certain corners, they can get out of it. And for not much reason, it's not to arrest the person, it's just to get out of it and report the issue for the domestic police to deal with it. You are not involved in that. So in a way, def arrest, no arrest small wild cow or arrest the cows or anything, make the property safe and everything, nyom didn't know, intelligence didn't know, and you don't even know they're there. Said some of these things, but name them talk, and some of them name them talks and neka see investigation be neka outside the room, you get digger or you get gis everything through a glass. Question and begin. Now I'm question so how many nyom question. You get collect. That's what they do. Them talk panelly. No, you don't do that. On rare occasions, on very rare occasions, when you have extra renditions or operational needs, I mean, that's what doesn't happen, especially in a democracy. This is the problem we have. I mean, these people claim this thing, they are there now. But I say I don't want this to stay long. We'll move along and people will get it as we go. DG Sowe knows that that General Bubu was a drug kingpin. He must have known about Silaba Samate relationship with General Bubu. What is his advice to Barrow? This was yesterday. Okay, why is this important? Mom, and okay, I have to take a little bit of time on this. Mom, Sowe, Bumo waha ki lead counsel. am na foo xam ne mu ngi laal Angola bu mu jógee ne lii council am xam na something about Angola mu jéem a daw I'll give you the Amut is no threat to national security from any. In fact, it's good for Gambians to know to hold Barrow accountable. This is Lumalen don wax Papa Njai, PPP, ñu jël ko def ko ambassador ba in Nigeria is all part of. Motax manelen suñ su drug fine bi génné di ngeen gis NPP in this because of certain people, because of their tribesmen are involved in the drug trafficking. And in the money laundering, they are now sponsoring the NPP and ñoo nekk motax these things happen. Papa Njai motax mu ngi dem is part of the drug is part of money laundering. And money laundering is related to drugs and other things. Mota mu nekk ambassador. I made this allegation. And I stand by to it. Now, fum nekk, Papa Njai fum nekk, he would be Central Africa and Angola. Now, when Mom Sowe mu ne xamna about General Bubu, he was in charge of external security. Mu ne General Bubu dafa ñëwoon for the peace process. Waxul dëgg. That's not true. General Bubu was there for the drug infrastructure. General Bubu for fallout. For fallout on with this thing there because more money comes in marine bi and ñu wehante. That's how it happened. Mu ñëw Yaya Jammeh uuf ko muy di la Yaya Jammeh. Silaba Samate introduce South Americans and Hollandans. Mota that place. That place Bundonwa Holligam Nyom Holligam and others. This Hollanders and other people Silaba Samate more than introduce in the Gambia. And that's what Silaba Samate do. He facilitate to make things happen. Silaba Samate was facilitating these people presence and in the executive and to rent the sovereignty of the Gambia, and they pay rent values to Yaya Jammeh, and through that, non la tie, military dohe digante Silaba and Nyom Yaya and other people. And so know this. And General Bubu was instrumental in this, in order to use some of islands, within Gambia, some of islands on uninhabited islands, and airstrips new one within Guinea-Bissau territory. This is what they were doing. Put in the drugs. Now, Angola, why Angola? Angolans were part of it. And Angola was part of Bikabohamne, Nyungfadunyobo drugs through Bissau. That's why they wanted Bubu. It was not on political negotiation. Now, so Mogina Ham Lumawani, Hamonako, he would not say this. Now, the same thing is happening right now. Motamalen drug fine bi so hamna what's going on because hamna mom wana ham so hamud wana ham as the National Security Services of these people from Angola, these people from different areas in Africa send relationship with drugs. Hamnako. Now, what happened here? Mom hamnako. Now, this na Silaba Samate, part of the president. Did he advise the president? And what did he advise the president about this relationship? Silaba Samate bugut baromota. Silaba Samate bugut democracy. Simo Samate bugut no. Silaba Samate wants Silaba Samate to expand. I'll give you the simple fact. When Silaba Samate had problem with Yaya Jammeh, Mudaw knew Silaba Samate was broke. Muna to def anything because I'm not transactions to do. The minute we have our democracy, Silaba Samate deluat Gambia. Them duga into the politics and duga into Barrow circle, Silaba Samate now, deluat now. Not only the property he's received, now he is having transactions. And as I said, in drug trafficking, not everybody see the drug, not everybody touch the drug, but kuneka amgo role boy play to facilitate. And you get your reward through how you act. Kuneka danga amso role to play. And now, so knowing about General Bubu and others, I'll give you this. General Bubu was involved in this motor American say and the information related American say muna def this thing operation came from a Gambian Ben Jammeh, the former Nakot Lifende, and Ben Jammeh gave this because he was trying to apply asylum to America. Then people, because I know the person who was helping him to apply asylum, Koko get in touch with the American administration, and they sent their agents in Senegal, and they interviewed him. He did not give them much. That's why they didn't facilitate his decision, because he cooperated a little bit. But the little bit he cooperated, he mentioned General Bubu. And then Americans walk on that premises and make a sting operation based on the information given to them. Moo tax ñu mën a téye General Bubu in naka la tudda in international waters. And soo leen dégloo lu Americans yi wax ci code bi, dañ ñëw ne ñoom ay South Americans dañ am drogue bu ñu bëgg a indi Bissau pour facilitate General Bubu ñëw uyu leen seen gaal bi ñu téye ko yóbbu ko and make a plea bargain. That's how it happened. Now he knows that. I know another part of it. I was, in 2014, I was in Senegal. And when I was in Senegal, for obviously subversive reasons, I know of these people who wanted, they invited me for a meeting. And I went to this meeting. I've not even drank a coffee they provided, because I'm not stupid, because I know the kind of people they were. I was interested just to have knowledge. Someone introduced them to me. I might be able to help them for what they want, because they thought everybody could run into these cycles would be like them. Because ñoom they Yaya Jammeh friend were they are French Angolans and this thing. And this drug fine, don't be surprised to find French nationals behind this. Either Gambian French or French national behind this. They had a problem with Yaya Jammeh. And now, because of what is involved, two things they wanted. They want to remove Yaya Jammeh, and they want a Gambian recommended, so that that Gambian will be installed. The infrastructure, they have the mercenaries, they are ready. They have this thing in Angola and everything. They want to bring Angolan mercenaries and everything to stomp State House, take over State House. And the other thing, they need a Gambian who can organize these things, nominate a Gambian, and the other program of stabilizing and taking control. That's where my expertise, that's where it should be. I was invited, and I had 3 meetings with them. Yep, put information. And I have not drank anything. The only time I have an environment that they control, and that thing that make it happen, in fact, the person involved was a Gambian, because Moma invite me, and I spent a night at this person's apartment in Dakar, because discussions were going, and it was late. I didn't want to take the risk to go to where I was coming from. I stayed that night. But apart from what was served there, I've never received anything or nothing. I make sure I take care of myself. And the information they gave me, in order to test it, Manilan, I am going back to Gambia, and I want to test what you guys said, because infrastructure, this, it was generating millions of dollars, and this is what they want to reinstate. And these people wanted to reinstate this, and they were ready and willing. They could do that, and they name people within the Yaya Jammeh circle. Those people would act on their behalf, because they have control over them. They will buy them in. They will buy them in because of they know. And these people were operating with Yaya Jammeh. I went back to Gambia, and I went to check this information, and it was true. The NIA was behind it. The army, some of the members of the army were behind it. The state was behind it. Airport authorities were behind it. Ports authorities were behind it. The Gambia Central Bank had a hand in it, because of money laundering was going. Central Bank knew the amount of money circulating in our markets, the amount of banks present in our markets could not be sustained by our economy. That's something else. They gave me all this information. I went to a residence. In Paradise Estate. Sorry, my in the program. I'll call you later. I went to a residence in, I think it's called Paradise Estate, in just by the airport. And I met Angolans and people from that background. The people, they told me, these are the people that double-crossed them and went with Yaya Jammeh. I met them. And some of these people were living, and some of Yaya Jammeh family were living with these people. I've shown that. And some of the properties, I think, was even owned by Yaya Jammeh. And the information they gave me, the small airplanes that comes in and out in the night, I've seen all that evidence. The drug infrastructure was there, so knew about this. And the NIA and others were part of it, and Yaya Jammeh was making money out of this. And again, if people knew, and people go to the WikiLeaks, these things, Yaya Jammeh admitted, technically, by saying that people have came. WikiLeaks release lu Americans ci génné Yaya Jammeh mu ne moom am na ñu ñëw toog di ko wax ne pour lease leen airport bi ñu suñ drop naka land take off ñu fay ko $500,000 waaye mu bañ ko an hour something like that mu bañ koo jël. It's a lie. That was happening. The sea mu ngi lease out sea bi mu ngi lease out the soil mu ngi lease out airports mu lease out properties, everything, the infrastructure was going on. The fine in Bonto, Yaya Jammeh knew about the existence and all these things and other things. The same thing more happened right now. The same thing more continuing right now. Sowe is ahead of that. And I'll bring something more. More of blunt surprise ne infrastructure. There's something to say banks, but they tell you. Since we are Jammeh, ñaata banks lañ am su yokkul de lan la. Do you think Gambians you fekk $5,000 is dañ am money to save? You think Gambians you fekk $5,000 dañ mëna jël loans yu banks yi di joxe? You think Gambians you fekk $5,000 is what can they do? How many Gambians have money to save? How many Gambians have money to take those loans and other things? These are all the scams that are going on. But as we said, Sowe knows about these things. Usman Sowe brought the briefcase of dollars from Saudi and handed it to Barrow. He will be running more errands, especially for the elections. Be vigilant. Again, so as I said, Bunko appointed DG&I. You remember when Adam Barrow talked about the mosque, building mosque and women garden? Adam Barrow, I cannot tell exactly. People reported $25 million. I don't know how much. But I know part of the money in dollars was given to Sowe. I know the people who were in that private flight, jet. And Sowe used the cover of those people's mission. I'm not going to name those people because they have nothing to do with it. And when Bumademe, one of those people, madam confront ko, maneko yen, munema no, munema we don't know, munema munala ko water. Yes, no Sowe, no boko yon. Mune you fly private jet from Gambia to Saudi. Ñu dem Saudi, ñu dem suñ meeting. Sowe gisuñ ko ba dee bu ñoo delsi, ñu ne bu ñoo delsi, ñu gis additional suitcases. Mota buma ko waxe munema you right, munema additional suitcases. Sowe indi ko. Manako those suitcases were delivered at State House. So in the additional suitcases. And those suitcases were money from Saudi Arabia. Okay. This money, again, I cannot say much on the other side because there's certain things secret about this. But this money was for an Islamization project. Just as Yaya Jammeh have its Islamization project. The same Islamization project with Yaya Jammeh Amon is the same Saudis with the Islamic University of Medina and other infrastructures. They were the ones sponsoring it. And these people, Adam Barrow, I introduced Adam Barrow bought the idea, more of the mosque. And the signatures, not only that mosque. So when Adam Barrow went to the Emirates, he signed in Qatar that charity status or nonsense. That's another vehicle, part of the Islamization project. And behind this Islamization project, that's where the Islamist Wahhabi terrorists will come out. When this thing happened, and Mudem into being, Adam Barrow jot xaalis ni. I think they started few mosques, and the mosque at the mosque, Fatalukan, the mosque at NIA was built by that Saudi person, the Saudi, and it's part of that money. But As I said, I'm not going to go into that. But we made sure it stopped by certain things. And you remember NIA, a project Bunekon at the Nakalatura, at Yundo, Banjurunding, the so-called NIA training school and all this nonsense. And the Saudis to come out. Father, look in time, every time you have Saudi officers visiting the Gambia. This was the threat. And I cannot get into certain things, but mysteriously it stopped. Adama Barrow we have the rest of the money. That money did not come to Gambians. And these are kind of monies that Adama Barrow have. And if we have a serious government, probably they will be able to investigate and get this money out. These are the kind of monies that Adama Barrow take. And so was the person who went for it. And if we think that people like Sowe would do anything different, no. And what we should understand, we should be vigilant. Yes, the NIA might not involve in going to arrest people, to beat them up, torture at you. That might change. Do you know why that change is people? You know who don't accept. You see, Yahya Jammeh was able to do certain things because Yahya Jammeh came through the military, came through coup d'etat. Adama Barrow pour mu change what Gambians went through in a sense, be mun lena nay flow wad be continue the flow is difficult. Mota su defé dala sa ñu attack ko, he is very uncomfortable. It's a very difficult thing to do. Yahya Jammeh fum joggé at lum andalon at everything could do that. But Adama Barrow starta mota su so waxé ne change nañ légui amatuñ handcuffs at yoyu are semantics, yoyu are nothing. But remember, 3 years jotna. When I buma len waxé fu 3 years jotna bitam after ngeen gis the facts. Why the case are not going into the courts? Nelen the NIA Lundef, that was criminal. That was criminal. And so was behind that. That was criminal. What changed about him? No. But we get other things that are more dangerous. And these things are really, and I will say this again, Lanata, and let me say this very seriously, I am not against Islam, I am a Muslim, but I am against Islamization. Because of it's not about Islam, it's not empowering Islam, it's about destabilization. Fumunti am destabilization. Northern Nigeria started like this. Northern Nigeria started like this. Tay gis nañ Nigeria mu ngi destabilize. It's completely dysfunctional country. Nigeria, it will be completely difficult. For Nigeria continue, it's matter of time Nigeria will disintegrate. Matter of time Nigeria might go to war and they will resolve themselves. But it's very difficult. Or the kind of leaders they need to change is not in the corridor of power. It's not in the corridor of power. Now, the Islamization project in northern Nigeria, and these are, I've written a document on this and explained the background of every bit of this. And people that know, I've shared this document with them, have they seen it? And the proof is just out there. So know about that thing. The other bit more, I came back and on the position okay. The other post I wrote, 8 building contracts for Jigo Construction, a friend of Barrow. How much reconstruction for the NIA compared to hospitals and schools? Barrow get kickbacks from all contracts. What about the other Gambian contractors? Vote Barrow out. Okay, let me explain another problem. We used to Barrow is doing all that. Amul ben contract bu nek ci dekali te Barrow amul ci wala. You don't have contracts. But imagine Gambians that build their businesses, Gambians that studied here, Gambians that took their money, took their savings, Gambians that took loans and everything went and established business. Now you have to be in Barrow's camp in order to benefit from government contracts or anything else. But we have this jiggle. I'll give you an example. And people, I keep on telling people, Barrow have never been a politician. Barrow, yes, might be in UDP, and UDP, I think they learned their mistakes now. Made him a treasurer because of other reasons, I don't know, or deputy treasurer, Muneka treasurer. Barrow was in cahoot. Barrow was a hustler and with cahoot in the APRC. I'm friends and family and everything cahoot in the APRC. I'll prove this. Jigo and Barrow, they went send relationship yagan. How much are they in I don't know that. But I can tell you from Bartes, Serkunda Bartes, they were together. And they were both hustling. The hustle, this Jigo, Mundon Ligel cousin, I think, is a cousin at the construction. This Jigo was not doing because he was from America. Now the legal cousin in the office. And during this process, move away from the cousin, then to do his own thing. When he started doing his own thing, then Barrow left contracts to rehabilitate some of the properties lent to Barrow or given to Barrow to let out. They had the relationship. But this Jigo was doing better. Because this Jigo, is a nephew of Aissatou Njie Sedi. He's a nephew of Aissatou Njie Sedi. He's from the Kuntaya Cabal. You know, there's a Kuntaya Cabal during the Yaya Jammeh government. You see, Motaman Yaya Jammeh nekuton about Jola. Yaya Jammeh nekuton about Fula. Yaya Jammeh nekuton about Serer. We have the testimony about Not Bank. The people from Bara and others. They're going to testimony on people from Fonyi. They're going to testimony on people from Badibu. I mean, different tribes, different people. It's all about a mechanism. But Aissatou Njie Sedi with I want to say it. There are two Jigos. There are cousins, and they are both now benefiting. But the guy I just make up their names. The guy is closer to Barrow. He's a bigger guy now. He's take the biggest contract, and the cousin do get some of the contracts to build. The cousin was the first person. The cousin was a graduate of GTTI or one of those technical schools. And that cousin worked for TAF at the Yundum project, that Yundum development. And from that Yundum development, he started a real estate business. And then this Jigo came, the Barrow's friend came and joined him from America and worked with him and decided to have his own thing. Now, this family or the cabal of Kuntaya is including the QCell group, the QCell and others. You see, this is the same establishment Yaya Jammeh had. Now they do the facilitations. Now, this Jigo now have 8 contracts, different contracts. It's unfortunate the TRRC did not tell us the value of the contract, how many millions, or each. But one thing you will find out, that the 8 contracts, every bit of that contract, Adam Barrow would have his kickback. And do you know, we call it structuring. You know, if I want to take out 5 million, it will be too much. What I can do, I can structure 5 million in a length of time. Now I move 500,000, 1 million, 500,000, 1 million in a space of 4 years or 1 year, depends when we need the money, and it will not be visible. Now, what they would do is, rather than give one big contract to cost 1 billion, it will be eye-catching. For the auditors, will be eye-catching for the donor, will be eye-catching for others. What they will do is, every financial year, they will take a portion of the project and give it to one person. This is why. How comes one person have all the project, win all the bits? One Gambia. Now we have to change a government like this. It's a cabal. Now this Jigo and the Kuntaya entity are supporting Barrow. If I say the Kuntaya cabal, I'm not meaning the entire of Kuntaya. I'm not meaning every member of their family. No. You will find that within their family, even some of them don't support what they're doing. It's not about family. It's not about this. No, it's about individuals' interests. Some of the things my family members do, I am not in support. Some of the things I do, my family members are not in support. I take responsibility of myself. This is something we should understand. Moo tax ñu war di bàyyi ne poli joolaay soose yi non nañ leen wax ñuy def lu ñoo def Njagoi, Christians, Muslims, no, it's individuals' interest. This is a cabal. Now, every other contracts in the Gambia is like this. You know the Hakalang Road. The Hakalang Road was first given to Dembo Bojang's son-in-law, and that contract collapsed. Now, that son-in-law lost because of he didn't have the proper contractual documents. I mean, contractual listing from government. Now, he cannot even sue the government. There's no tendering. That's the first contract happened because of Dembo Bojang. Go and look at that facts. The Hakalang Road. Go and look at that facts. The guy is a Sierra Leonean. He bought every machines and everything, started the road even, pre-finance. But he have not written, written a tight decision. He cannot take that money, he cannot take that agreement to the banks to raise money. The banks will not give him money on that. Now he could not raise the rest of the money. Now government, now Adam Barrow just kick him out. Now that guy have lost out. These are the things that's going on, and Sowe know that. You see, if Sowe is involved in all this dodgy stuff, and this guy who I tell you they have changed, what have changed? What have changed is what we change Gambia. Why you can tell you handcuff you NIA because something would happen. Then this is the power in the What are my Gambians to put, especially influential Gambians, to come together to make sure our politics is enriched. I don't care what party you support. Make sure it's enriched. Party yep enriched. Buñ nek fi di niki naka suñ démé elections ko ku nek ko gom ku la jaay bopam ku la jaay patem ku la jaay policisam ñu support ngeen support ko ku win Gambian si accept ni ki mo win moy democracy. But Adama Barrow entering ko is not a solution. Bulan nangu this, they are struggling for us to believe this. Nañ ko bañ. Wow, should Adama Barrow kill dede du dega ko ko wax du waxu dega. 6 months is a long time in politics. It might be Ousainou Darboe. It can be Mama Kande. It can be Halifa Sallah. It can be Dr. Sisi. It can be Ben Suare. Depend on what the leadership brought out. Bulen nangu you decide election be right now. Then decide the democracy. Then decide democracy be based on building the institutions. Then decide the democracy, make sure you have credible elections. Then you build the democracy, make sure participation Gambians come out to vote. Gambians register, stop non-Gambians from registering. You educate the Gambians to know their interests and how to vote. Sinjame elections is possible. Elections from the we are talking about elections just to give an example. But just to show you that this is what is happening. Bulen nangu njiro njaro bi yep benefit can. All these things is about Barrow, and Barrow didn't make money. That's what Sowe did. You know, until the Barrow visiting Sowe. Barrow visiting Sowe is an insult to victims and undermining the TRRC. If Barrow is left in power, the TRRC will see the same fate as the Janneh Commission. Why is Sowe so important to Barrow? Gambia, why is Sowe so important to Barrow? Many people testify. And for you, Sowe, yes, he's not adversarial, but Sowe have come out as untrustworthy public servant. So I've come out as well. Younger them to the extent of get them bekeram pusetiko pulan. What solidarity you showing us? Why when you are not impartial? You are this tier, and we said that. Kubuga victims, Kubuga support victims. Barrow is not. Barrow have never visited the victim center. He only visited the victim center when the German president went to visit the victim center. That was convenient. Barrow have only went to the victim center when the TRRC was going to be formed or something like that. Barrow have never shown any remorse or any support or any empathy to victims of the Gambia. But the perpetrator of crime is settled at now. Now, Barrow, Sowe is very important to Barrow because of Barrow is taking this as a tribe. Loyalty. Now, Sowe have delivered a lot for Barrow. The $1 million Sowe in the Sowe could have done an Ibu Jallo, decoy and other things. Sowe could have done a lot of things. Barrow can do nothing. But Sowe have done a lot. You see, voucher of Sowe, coming from Fonyi, voucher of Sowe being part of the mechanism of Jammeh entrenchment. Sowe is instrumental in the APRC. Yes, he don't go for this moving, but he's instrumental, and Barrow is expecting Sowe, and Sowe will try. And yes, again, remember when Sowe went to Equatorial Guinea, time Yaya Jammeh Yayam Day. More Tangara. We had to no Guinea lulu. Then nyom government soga Guinea pictures bepe admit ne dem nañ fa. We all know that all that was beginning of the negotiations with Yaya Jammeh. And Sowe is leading that negotiation with Tangara. All these things more make important for Barrow. And Barrow will hold on to Sowe come May what. Since Togonte, I'm in revelation, Sowe are taking a part in, and I'll come to that. It does not make any difference to Barrow. It's just ask the Janneh Commission. Nyom Mambure, nyom other people, nyom Alaji Sise, people who want to protect because they are doing something for him. He protects them. Now, Sowe would be that person. Now, the important about this, Moine, we should know what we have at stake. Our institutions are not headed by people that should be, in order to reform it, in order to... Yes, every national security guy, dangawa am loyalty. But the loyalty should be to the state. Yes, the trust should be between you and the president. But there's a limit to that. You have to loyal to the president to the extent of doing something against the state. The state is always bigger. And you will hold accountable on this, and you cannot take an excuse and get out of this. And that's a bit important. DIG, DG, NIA to all senior members has legal culpability to the crimes carried out by the illustrate operative. The NIA was 1 minute. The NIA was not a national security outfit, but a brutal instrument to repression for Jammeh. SSR reform not feasible. It's feasible after Barrow. Torture. Now, I'll tell you one thing. We have to understand crime and how these crimes are committed. The police have been doing a lot of work behind the Moisen mandate. Yes, the police have unknown corruption. Yes, police be among some people in the police or part of what they do, mungdon repress, but not to the extent. The army had an obligation, had a mandate at Yep New Filco, and part of that army they allowed for reprehensible arm. They represented this. You see, the army and the NIA, you're the biggest, you're the institutions you hold Barrow to power. NIAB, in the army in a sense, the CDS or the army command allowed the institution to function. And under the functionality of the institutions, they have people that wear that uniform or that have the engineer of the army to work on, to be influenced, to do what they did called junglers or whatever. And that army did not stop that. They are part of it. But the NIA is solid understanding, look at it. After 1981, you realize that we need a component. I've said that in the beginning. I'm just a little bit tired. We see the need because all we have was CID. And you detect the 81 coup happened. And part of the reason what happened, I want a component of national security services. What you call NSS. Because there are certain things you have it's out of the boundaries or understanding or anything, and the president needed to be informed directly. The president forwarded the decision straight away at you. That power, Lola and NSS be done that. Because you cannot have the CID, them see Inspector General of Police, them see Interior Minister, be see President, you know, you lose a lot. Time and the value of the information at the them, intelligence and so on. At the professionalism of that thing. I'm a different nature. And if we talk about reforms of the NIA, you find out that other things the NIA would do, you'll be surprised. It's just to empower Gambian interest in another way, not in this form of security, but in another way of national security. We talk about that. But NSS Bilila one, and domestic domestic operatives, and there were not many, and for obvious reasons, and I'm a kind of international security, external security. And yes, it failed, but they soon effective for the government failed on in and when the government started fail, my Bundore politicized the NSS, they gained the professionals out of it, the certain people based on loyalty of so-called tribe or political affiliation or what. Yeah, but it could have, then they would have detected what is happening in Liberia, what is happening in this, and you can understand all the things we feel. But what Yahya did with the NSS might change completely as a police state, just as Libya did, so as other countries did. Jël dem leen xool lu ñoo wax about NIA, headquarters be torture and everything is the same as every repressive regime. Samuel Doe regime, and Gaddafi's regime. This is the same thing. It's a police state. Lula Degree 45 was done in that these things. Now, what happens is, two things do happen here. There are people in there, they might not ever do it. Musuño slap it. Ken musuta gis ñu fekke dara. Like fekke dara sa gis ko or buño torture. No, yes, it's possible. Do you know why? These people were a little bit more wiser than the others. They will come a day, they will ask to explain. They will try by all means. They will not see anything. They will hear, they will know. They will try not to witness or known to be witness. Known to be witness. Munna you witness certain things. But you might not have anyone to come the bench while the witness. Do you know why? Because ñun muko witness, none of us will talk about each other in the open. In the open. This is what happens. Then people like Sowe at the anybody could serve at the senior level of the NIA. During the NIA, you are culpable. Because then I'm responsibility, then I'm duty of care. What happened to your agents? What happened to people under your custody? Then I'm in this thing for, regardless whether you are analyst, regardless this, because you know about it. What did you do? Then Sowe munta wax ne xamut. He cannot claim ne xamut. Waxu dëgg fa fen. He's no. Because lan tax mu xam. Let me put this. Structure bi lan la. Then so by hell, then indi certain people, recruit certain people for one thing. To do the dirty job, the most dirty job. Those people you name, you do deliver. Those people, them learn wholesale education. Them learn whole. Some of these people are drug addicts. Some of them are alcoholics. Some of them are indisciplined. Anything lu ñoo def pour ñoom ñu ngi am doole, pour nekk NIA doole la. Now they will do all this because of then. The president, dictator Jammeh na xamne yes ñi ñoo nekk di def li, and they can go in town def lu leen ne and nobody is. That's why they were there. Sowe will not be part of that because of Sowe. Already I'm not a bit of education, I'm not a background boom and now I'm not people to look after him. Now Sowe will be part of ñu nekk in certain level. And other people are like that. Most of you don't dig and door in it or what, but they are equally bad as people that door torture on you. Why? I'll come to this. Now, the NIA building, people that don't know. Musuma fa dem bum neke NIA, but I remember those buildings how they look like time in GPMB. They are colonial structures. Amut foy neka. Si building bobo hamulo su nekkee as an intelligence officer, in fact nga nekk in a building, not even nga ne bugulo xam musulo gis lu nekk fu waxulo dega dang ko avoid xam nga ne lu fa nekk, you don't want to degulo ko degan ko. Do you know why degan ko? All these people, part of analyst, he will read newspapers, he will read papers, he will read the internet mu ngi dega lu ñu wax ci dëkk bi. mu ngi xam moromami colleagues am mu ngi xam ministers mu ngi am other people senior citizens in the country been maltreated, been tortured, been killed and everything. He knows that it's going on. But su nekkee ne nit ku déggu la nekku ne fa dem in survival instincts pour benefit boppam, he would not serve at that level of the NIA. He would have left. Xam ne institution bi nekkalu fi Gambia, nekkalu fi to do anything for Gambia. It's not about drug trafficking. It's not about the waxu dëgga. Xam na ne drug trafficking bu doon am si dëkk bi is part of the infrastructure of that government. Part of Yaya Jammeh lu moo benefit from, ñoom lu ñoo benefit from. He would have resigned or génn dëkk bi as other people do. Why did I say this? I'm not going to name names. Hold up, NSSB, I know people who were there. Bu Kube Ame, they continue as NIA. And some of these people were sent to Libya. Ñoom lañ njëkk a sent to Libya with Daba Marina. When they come back, this guy from Bakau, Munema bro, I am out of this country. Munema luñ jàngee Libya. You know, I am not going to be part of this. Tay mu ngi America since then, 95 bi léegi mu ngi America. Since he came back from Libya, mu gaaw lijjante boppam génn. So have an opportunity mu bañ. Now, anybody at that level, or continue liggéey NIA, you choose to work NIA, xam nga lu fa nekk, you cannot exempt yourself. It's out of it. You know it in many ways. So you remember the people saying that they hear this, gis evidence. It was not only in the torture chamber, they torture you outside the building. People you don't area, it's not a secret. The guy is not truthful. He knew about them. The more they gain evidence, because he's complicit. And Gambians have to understand this. That's why these people cannot expect it to lead and bring about change. They were part of the problem and they enjoyed the fruits of it. Defuñ ko pour Gambia. Xam na ne lu ñoo def defaluñ ko pour Gambia. It's for Yaya Jammeh. And these same people who do everything, lu moo def tey xam na ne it's not for Gambia, mu ko def for Adama Barrow waxu dëgga. He knew about this money from Saudi Arabia. It's for Adama Barrow and to Adama Barrow's interest. It's not for Gambian interest. Right now, xam na ne Thai bi mu ngi Gambia, xam na ñoom Silaba Samate and others are part of Thai. Su ko xamut he have failed. How can Gambia have 2 tons of cocaine di ñëw? Kooku am na lu mu yaakaar pour indi ko si Gambia bi ñooñu am nañ lu ñu yaakaar. Then fail na as responsible ay SIS. Pour wax ne dañ doon dugal si drogue bi di ko important ni no waxu dëgga. And SFL have done a good job on that. Pour one lan la. That's where the facts is. The other part, money, how many intelligence personnel is needed in the Gambia? If they know what they do, we need a small team with capacity. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but just to touch, as I said, if we know what we do, intelligence be there. Yes, there are certain threats that we have to look out for. We don't talk them, I'm going to look for. You have to look out for this. And this is based on when you do an assessment of your national security. You do an assessment of your, territorial integrating or look into certain things. That's a fact in Gambia. We have to look out for Islamic terrorism. That's a fact of that. The Saharan threat, there are a lot of things. They operate in many ways, and you need a national security to understand this, to do this. You don't need a lot of people. What you do is agents, they will be specialized on this. And when they specialize in this, they rely on a lot of information. You'll be surprised to know that even the registration of non-governmental organizations is one of the things. Because when they register the people. Now, anybody register under NGO outside of the Gambia or NGOB, you have to investigate them to know their backgrounds, because these are one way they come into a country. You have the business registration, you have to do that. You have GRA, the tax, you have to do that. You see, you don't need to employ many people to do that. You have to have the software, that's all it is now. And all this information, analyze what you look for, we have to do that. There are certain things we have to do, but it doesn't need a lot of people to do that, especially people know how to. I am not going to tell you how many people work for NIA. I know and have an idea of that. Do you know that every region, the 8 regions of the Gambia, from Banjul, KMC, BAC, Mansakonko, Kerawan, Basse, Kuntawur, and Makati. Do you know they have different offices? Now they have a regional office in Basse. Do you know that? Do you know how much these people spend on this? It's just useless. What? What people say, it's not secret, it's on social media. Then, if so how many constitutes about how many people do you need to monitor? It's not monitoring social media per se. Per se, I don't want to use the word monitor. But obviously, it's a matter of what you do. You don't need that much to do some of these things. Gambia, look at this. If we say in Gambia 2 million, how many people are really active on social media? They would really want to do something bad or anything. How many? Tell me. How many people? There are views. It's a democracy. They must say horrible things. They will not act on it. They have no means of acting on it. And you can pick this up. So, there are many things we can do. But we don't need that much people. We need resources. But the more resources we need is for a different thing. It's for a different thing. The resources when you use your national security services, in fact, to move, that advance. It's add value to your economy. It's not only the detection of crime and prevention of crime, through intelligence, these things, and avoiding major mishaps, terrorism, and others. I don't want to go into that, but there's something in international trade now that people, and this intelligence, they don't know that. You'll be surprised why China is winning in certain ways. You'll be surprised why certain times you see certain Chinese products. Like this, muy them viral. China, you get the plastic rice. You think, who were the people behind that? Chinese product be lila. Do you know that's what national security services should be doing? You know what how China would do to counter that? These are kind of things there's an element of some of these things that we need to look out for and other things. But you see, there's a new area in governance now that need an aspect of national security services, put the millennium. That's where the profile will come and other things and help us in time of negotiations, especially going into contracts and especially into big contracts, the oil exploration and others. Where we go with sovereign states. You see, these companies is Bopam, ExxonMobil and Saipem, and I can name them, aviation. Most of they have intelligence outfits. Ñoo strategize and ñoo advise. We should have people who can understand these things. And when we go or when they come to us, we have an insight of that to advise us on strategy and understand some of the political implications. These are things that we need. It's just sad, we are losing out. We need it. I make sure, yes, I make a case in the need name. Put the CID doing that, it's not true. There are certain things CID cannot do. CID important and the NSS, National Security Services, or NIA can rely, obviously, they rely on the domestic, on their domestic role. They rely on information coming from the police, information coming from the fire service. You'll be surprised. If we structure it right, information coming from GRA, information coming from customs, information coming from the ports, information coming from the airport, information coming from this, and you don't need the, certain things that you need to get these things, and other things, and you cannot be a sovereign state, a law and entity that deals with the other countries' send intelligence outfit. We need something, but it doesn't have to be big. to inform and prepare. This is what it is, but we don't have it. Guys, thank you very much. I didn't want this to be long. I think we have almost 2 hours program on this. Yes, almost 2 hours. And as I said, we'll come back probably Saturday if everything works well, if I have the radio, because I mean, I'm more comfortable with the radio and the Facebook. I'm more of a radio person than Facebook. But yes, I'll come to deal with this NACO thing. I mean, and get into details and just show you how complicit the NPP is, and to understand how complicit the Barrow administration is, and how vulnerable our country is. I said that before. Now it's proof of coming. We have hashish. A few days ago, I said it's not only hashish. I have to go and get that portion of my talk. Then it's not only hashish. Just look at what's going to come out. And it came out. 2 tons. Not even the Ajame time. Because of now, it's free for all. It's Gambian authorities are cheaper to be bought. That's why I have someone like Silaba Samati become important. Apparently, he threatened suing people. I am here, Silaba, sue me. And if I have any business to do in Gambia, I'll let you know when I'm coming, so that you can prepare your lawyers to get on me, or send your lawyers here, because you said you will come to, I mean, he will come to any country and sue you there. Come on here, a common criminal, try that. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good evening and a beautiful weekend. Susobe will try and come either Sunday or Monday to deal with this issue, what we are following. And as I said, I am appealing to Gambians. The reason I spend my time, or we spend our time on this, it's not on individuals. It's not about individuals. I am appealing to Gambians, especially conscious Gambians, especially influential Gambians. And what I mean in influential Gambians are Gambians that have the little. Because Kumuna Deglusuma program, you are influential. I believe that, because of we measure influence in many ways. But let's say it's like this. We owe it to our country, and we should not leave this country to these people. I am completely against Barrow's government. I am not in line with any particular political party in the opposition as present. Let me emphasize. But that does not mean in time of elections, I would not affiliate myself with a political party or make my position more clear to campaign. But right now, I am based on civil society, and what I am doing and asking Gambians to do to encourage, empower the democracy, to hold government accountable. And this is part of the accountability, to stop the crime, stop the corruption and all this crime going on. But to stop the other crime is our democratization, to make sure we deliver that. Because it's important to have elections with integrity. If not, Gambia would be destabilized. And we don't want anybody to continue governing that country without the legitimate approval from the Gambian people. This is my worry, because that would, when something is done illegitimately, give cause for other people. I didn't even have time to talk about Sowe's issue about coup d'etat. He should have thought about the causes of coup d'etat. Coup d'etat doesn't happen where democracy thrives. That's where it is. The coup d'etat cannot succeed where there's no cause for it. I'm not justifying it, but that's the reason. But I am calling Gambians to avoid. If we want to avoid coup d'etat, we have to make sure we enrich our democracy and we are represented right. And as I said, let us not fall for this. It's not good for democracy to think that if not Barrow, it's only one political party. No. Let's not think that it's only 2 political parties vying for these elections. It's not true. Gambia at a crossroad. The most challenging elections is coming. Let's work hard to make sure we win people over, not based on sentiments. Let's it based on information. I mean, scientific, logical, factual information. Let it based on what can benefit the people, what can benefit our country. We cannot empower an individual. We should be empowering society. We should empower leaders who have the integrity and the mindset to govern that country. That's what we should be doing. And we should make sure democracy thrives by make sure we support. And we have to be part of the institutions. And political parties are part of that institutions. We want the political parties to be empowered. We want the opposition to be empowered in many ways, and there are many ways we can do that. Not only by giving the resources, the financial resources, but we should advocate our people, educate our people, galvanize our people, make sure our people register to vote, to participate, and to stop foreigners voting. It's not about tribe. Foreigners should not vote in our elections. If any foreigner see a value in us, wanting to be part of us, do the right thing. Our constitution stipulated it very clearly. If anyone wants to empower any person to become a citizen, do it the right way. We have no problem with that. But just not for elections. To empower people to take part in elections is wrong. And that is serving some, and if we sit back and watch this, be in where you are. If you are genuine Gambian, if you have the Gambian heart, you should not encourage this. It's not about political parties. This is about our sovereignty, and we should not sell our sovereignty. It's already sold by Barrow, and we should try and reclaim that sovereignty back for us. And to make sure next person coming in and next government coming in is fit for purpose that would benefit the Gambian people. Let's move away from these tribal sentiments. I am appealing again. Let's guide our response. Let's guide our utterance. At times we don't mean to insult an entire tribe. And yes, but we end up insulting an entire tribe because of individuals have said something to us or individuals have behaved a certain way. Let us measure our response. We have a right to that. We have a right to opinion, but we don't have a right to offend other people. It's a democracy, and it does not help your political party, and it does not help the Gambia at large. We can hold people accountable. We can hold people accountable in many ways, but we should not entirely, generally go on to attack all the people who have nothing to do with it. I try by all means to limit the people that I will name. I always name them when it's absolutely, and especially they're public officers or they are in a distance. And when I do that, I am not doing it to that person to be insulted or anything, but I'm doing it for that person to be held accountable. And that's the only reason I'm doing it. And thank you very much, guys, and we have a good evening. Thank you. Thank you.